Beautiful look at Seattle in the late afternoon. The big Dungeness, CenturyLink Field in Seattle, Washington. Come on, Seattle. After winning 3 of 4, your playoff hopes are still alive. Can they sweep the season series from division rivals St. Louis? Rams.
Welcome to Monday Night Countdown, served by Applebee's.
And if you like the water, you love the Pacific Northwest of Seattle. Little sunset happening before Monday Night Football. Marshawn Lynch, he can set some suns when he carries the ball hard for the home team, the Seahawks. And welcome everybody to Monday Night Countdown. 13 shopping days till Christmas. 90 minutes to gift wrap. The wild week 14 in the NFL. I mean, this was a fun week at the end of the game, I got to tell you. Chris Berman, hi. Glad you could be with us. And Coach Mike Ditka looking...
glad to be back.
Christmas shopping going well?
Yeah, we got it.
We're getting there. Keyshawn Johnson, nothing interim about you?
No, I'm going to be here for a minute, I hope. Boom.
For 1 minute. Well, let me look into that. Chris Carter, good evening.
Good to see you, Boom.
And Tom Jackson.
Boom.
Yeah. Tom, there's one game left.
And we have.
We have it. All right, it's tonight. It's the Rams and the Seahawks. We got everybody. We got Steve Young coming up. We got Mort. We got Adam. We got Tret. We got a cast of dozens in Seattle. We begin with head coaching news in the AFC. 2 franchises making moves. The second and third AFC coaches fired this season. Remember, Jack Del Rio let go a week ago by Jacksonville. So here we go. And the Kansas City Chiefs fired coach Todd Haley today. The Chiefs won the West last year, only 5-8 this season. He was 19-27, nearly 3 years with KC. Romeo Crennel takes over. In the interim, he was defensive coordinator. After a 4-9 start to the season, the Dolphins have parted ways with Tony Sparano. He won the AFC East as a rookie head coach in 2008, 29-33 overall. Assistant Todd Bowles will serve as the team's assistant coach. Adam, Verizon Red Zone, fellas, never good to report on this stuff.
In fact, after the Miami Herald reported last night that Tony Sparano was out as coach and Jeff Ireland, the general manager, would remain, there was a lot of tension there because clearly Sparano was what you would call a dead coach walking. And there was a lot of conversation as to whether or not he should stick around for the final games. He wanted to, but in the end, Stephen Ross, the owner, felt it was time to move on. Big question now will be, are they going to go look for a big-name coach like Bill Cowher, or will they simply have a search and end up with the best possible candidate?
The Kansas City Chiefs encountered a situation that everybody knew was inevitable. Todd Haley was going to get fired. It came close to happening last season after the Chiefs lost to the Baltimore Ravens in the playoffs. There was talk it could happen at the beginning of this season, and finally on Monday, December 12th, it does happen. Scott Pioli would like to bring in a coach that's more aligned with him, more aligned with his way of thinking, and obviously the names that have surfaced already would be former Broncos head coach Josh McDaniels, Jeff Fisher, the former Titans coach, maybe even if they could lure Kirk Ferentz away from Iowa. But now we have seen 3 head coaching changes in the last 2 weeks, and we've seen all 3 teams, Jacksonville, Kansas City, and Miami, go to minority interim replacements. We've seen Mel Tucker get appointed in Jacksonville. We've seen Todd Bowles get appointed in Miami, and we've seen Romeo Crennel in Kansas City. Each man is perfectly suited for his job and capable of doing it, but it also gives the team, Boom, some flexibility and some options about hiring someone right away if they choose.
Still to come on Monday Night Countdown. Tim Tebow and the Broncos will the magic carpet ride end next Sunday against Tom Brady and the Patriots. The Cowboys another 4th quarter lead reaction to the Giants' season-saving comeback in Big D last night. And Green Bay rolled to 13-0. Could anything stand in their way of a perfect regular season?
The Verizon Red Zone is brought to you by Verizon, the official wireless service provider of the NFL.
I'm Don Bell. Coming up Tuesday on SportsCenter, it's time to get into beast mode. Marshawn Lynch and the Seahawks take on the Rams. It's Monday Night Football. And, of course, Tim Tebow is now 7-1 with the Broncos. We'll talk about that. We head to Denver to find out how the team is enjoying their new home atop the AFC West. Plus, the start of the NBA season is just 13 days away. We'll tell you who has been traded, who has been signed, and who's staying put. That's coming up on SportsCenter.
At a banquet 3 days before Super Bowl III, New York Jets quarterback Joe Namath publicly guaranteed that his team would beat the Baltimore Colts. And he didn't let his fans down. NFL Hall of Famer Johnny Unitas entered the game and led Baltimore to their only score. But the lone touchdown wouldn't be enough. With an air attack led by Namath and a solid ground game led by fullback Matt Snell, the Jets plowed down the field for 3 field goals and a touchdown. And true to his word, Namath and his Jets walked away with the first Super Bowl victory by an AFL franchise.
And the ball game is over. There is the gun, and the Jets are champions of the football world.
Aaron Rodgers, I mean, what can he do wrong yet? He's the best quarterback today.
We might be seeing the ultimate quarterback.
His flight of the football out of his hand is second to none.
The brain work at the line of scrimmage, the toughness and courage, ability to extend the play, the accuracy, athletic quarterbacks, all wrapped up in one guy right now, Aaron Rodgers.
If you love the NFL, then ESPN America has the top coverage for you all season long.
Touchdown! Ridiculous!
Starting with Sunday NFL Countdown. Catch 3 full hours of previews and features, followed by a triple header of live NFL games. And every Monday, catch up on all the news from around the league with NFL Primetime and Monday Night Countdown. Then, kick things off with the one and only Monday Night Football. Want even more NFL action? Every Monday through Friday, we bring you 60-minute versions of NFL Live and ESPN's brand new show, NFL 32. And each week, we dip into the film library to bring you a new episode of NFL Films Presents. Plus, in January, the playoffs start with Wild Card Weekend, followed by the divisional round and conference championships. And on February 5th, top it off with the greatest spectacle in American sport, Super Bowl 46 live from Indianapolis. ESPN America, home of the NFL.
Monday Night Countdown is served by Applebee's new sizzling entrees. Fresh flavor, never sounded so good. Best Buy. Find the perfect gift online or in store this holiday season at Best Buy. And K Jewelers. Every kiss begins with K.
It happened again in Denver. Tim Tebow, Broncos against the Chicago Bears, who led 10-0 barely before the 2-minute mark. And off the scramble, Peter Paul and Demaryius Thomas catches the touchdown pass from Tebow, 7 for 7 on the drive. Marion Barber, inexplicably with Denver with no timeouts, runs out of bounds, giving Denver an extra 40 seconds when they have the ball. So still they need something to happen, and Tebow makes it happen to Matt Willis out of bounds. And then, with 8 seconds to go, it's 59 yards. Matt, let us pray, turn. It's up. And I mean, it's good from 68 yards. Gone! And we're headed to overtime, 10-all. Chicago wins toss, 3rd and 7 Bears. Barber, and he's going to move him into, it's a fumble! Really? It's a fumble! And so Denver takes over in miracle fashion. And here's more. Tebow to Thomas, 16 yards, and then 59 to tie and 51 to win for Matt Prater. Good. 7-1 behind Tebow. 3 of the wins in overtime. 13-10. The Broncos in first by themselves. And we bring in, well, from one lefty to another, we bring in Steve Young. And a happy holidays to you and the family.
You too, Boomer.
Thanks, Steve. Yesterday, we keep, building and changing the resume a little bit. What do you see different or more of from Tebow now?
Lefty scramblers. I love talking about them. Boomer, I think away from the excitement, right? This is really a phenomenal story for football right now. But away from that, Tim Tebow is doing what every young quarterback only hopes to do, which is stay on the field, to develop. He is developing. Some could say, you could argue all kinds of things, but he is getting better in the pocket. He is developing week to week, and despite all the heroics and all the ways we could slice this, in the end, Tim Tebow, what he truly wants to be is a long-term NFL quarterback. And to be that guy, he has to stay on the field and continue to do what he's done. Now, look, for 50 minutes yesterday, it was not great. But he is one of the best players in the league in the last couple of minutes of the last 6 games that I've seen in a long time. So that's the developing football player in the NFL, and that's what I'm hopeful for him for the long term.
All right, Steve, we'll get back to you shortly. There's some toffee you can eat. I know that while you wait for us. Coach, your reaction to the the latest miracle, what do we call it?
I wrote some things down. If this was baseball, this is the guy that got the winning hit in the bottom of the ninth or extra innings, 4 straight games. Come on. I mean, that doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
But there's 3 things in football. You have to have skill. I think you have to say he has skill.
Yeah.
You know he has a will.
Mm-hmm.
And the third thing, I think you have to be able to execute under pressure.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he does best. Now, I don't know when it's going to end, but I know right now he doesn't think it'll ever end. He's going to find a way to get the job done.
Coach, I'm going to break it down to 2 things. I think first and foremost, to be a pro, you got to be able to make plays. And it is not about Tebow. Post Marion Barber running out of bounds, you have to stop the other team. The defense managed to do that. Mm-hmm. Prater, those field goals, 59 and 51 yards. Perfect blocking, snap, hold, kick. They had one blocked earlier. They shored that up, so they, again, making plays. But when you talk about Tim Tebow, I think he's already told us exactly what he's about. He has great faith in God, which gives him faith and confidence in what he's going to do at the end of games. When he's 3 for 18, he doesn't get deflated like most quarterbacks would. I think his team now feeds off of that at the end of football games, and they play to get to those last 10 minutes that Steve Young talked about. And instead of thinking, oh, my goodness, how will we win, they think we're going to win the game. And the more it happens, just like us with Elway, you start thinking it's going to happen all the time.
I start thinking, crazy. I mean, how this continues to keep happening week in and week out. Now, I've watched him now for, I guess, the last 6 weeks. He's like a point guard penetrating the middle on a basketball court. He's going to dish. He's going to make everybody collapse, lose their responsibilities. Boom, now he scores. The next thing you know, the defense is trying to figure out what happened. Well, he made you commit a mistake. He made you lose contain. He made you forget about the receiver you were supposed to be committed to commit to him, then he pulls up and he throws a touchdown. Continuously doing that over and over and over again. And if that's the case, he'll make somebody else pay and make somebody else make a mistake.
Yeah, I can't explain what it is, but I do know that it's very, very powerful. And the one thing in team sports that you can't underscore, the ability for other people to look at someone. Because you mentioned Tim Tebow's faith. And I've seen other guys in the league that have the same type of faith and have the same type of influence. Their thing is, though, you could explain it. You can understand Reggie White. You could explain his skill level.
Great skill.
Okay? Kurt Warner, he came from bagging groceries, same faith level as Tim Tebow. The thing about Tebow is he's really bad in the games. He has been bad in practices, but he hasn't been disturbed, and his teammates see that. Tebow has never failed in his life. So he doesn't have pictures of himself failing. His teammates see that, and they capture that. And as a team, that's why team sports is the ultimate. Because everyone has to come together to make this thing happen. Tim Tebow is a tremendous story. I said 6 weeks ago, I didn't think he was a starting quarterback. It's not about technique and everything. He has something that you can't put your hand on it, Boone.
Well, we talked about this last night on the Blitz, Tommy. Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, The Power of Positive Thinking. Now, I don't know that Tim's read the book. He didn't have to read the book. because it goes beyond him. You say, Chris, he's never failed because he's been a winner, but it's the way he thinks, how much of the faith, it's changed the way. It's going to work, and everybody in the huddle or on the sidelines and the coaching staff is like, you know what? It is going to work, and it permeates everywhere else. Now, you guys know this better than I do, right? The louder it gets in the stadium that we think, how can they even think? The game is at crunch time, but if you're the great athlete in the middle of it, isn't it quieter if you're about to deliver? Am I right? Because you guys have been there. I haven't. For him, it must be really quiet.
You're confident in your skill level. You're confident in your ability to make things happen.
You know, I read something that Grantland Rice said something. He said, class is a hard thing to define. He said it could be the flick of a champion's glove or the lift of a thoroughbred's hoof. But he says once you see it, he says you never forget it. I don't know about this kid, but I know one thing. There's something I really like about him because, you know, the people around him like what he's doing. They like his leadership. They buy into it. And that's so important.
The best thing Coach Foxy did after that Detroit game, he didn't go to Brady Quinn.
That's right.
He stayed the course with this quarterback, and he's gotten better and better each week, Boom. That was the best thing Foxy did.
And to Steve's point, he's only started 11 games, a few last year. It's pretty good here. It's peanut butter and jelly, man. You got to like it. Yeah. Sorry. Tret, look, we sit and we watch the games together, and we all scratch what limited hair we have up there. What did you see from Tim late in all these games? Maybe a thread that you can put together.
Well, Boom, I'm going to get to the tape eventually, but I want to comment. That's the best commentary I've heard yet on Tim Tebow, what the five guys and you just said. And it makes sense to me because you have five great football players that just commented on another football player. And as I've studied great players, I've noticed one thing. They're at their best when the situation is the most difficult. When I look at the tape, I'm watching this young player, Tim Tebow, develop, and that's what's happening to him. Here's a 2-minute situation. Tampa 2. Now, understand, Tim Tebow has not read his zone coverage correctly the whole day. Yet in this moment, he sees it as if it's slow motion, gets the ball to his back immediately, lets him run. Now we have a 3rd and 8 in overtime. Hasn't shown a lot of rhythm, hasn't shown timing and accuracy. Oh my goodness, overtime, it's textbook footwork, it's textbook location. Now we have bump and run, make him throw into tight windows. Hasn't done this all game. What's he do? He just stands up, throws his receiver open. This thing is blowing my mind, and I think one of the pieces too that we've missed a little bit is this. We've all made it about Tim Tebow, right? The media. The fans make it about Tim Tebow. You know who hasn't made it about Tim Tebow? Tim Tebow. And I think Chris mentioned this. That humility resonates on a football team because now all your other players aren't fighting for their piece of the pie. Tim Tebow said it. These guys are making me look better than I really am. And that is helping bring out the fullest in his teammates as well as himself.
And isn't it fun for everybody to see? I mean, even if they don't win every game at the end, Trent, although you wonder if that's ever going to happen. Get back to you shortly. Remember this Monday night moment back in 1983, the Cowboys, Tony Dorsett from his own one against the Vikings. And I mean, this is the ultimate. He could go all the way. I'm going to go out on a limb. No one will break this record of 99-yard touchdown. Now, as Robert Downey Jr. explains, that TD run may have been more mysterious on closer examination.
Monday night. It's the one we're all watching because on Monday night, we witnessed the amazing.
Can you believe that?
Wait, Dallas, Minnesota 83, what did you just say?
Big opening for Tony Dorsett. Look out, he's got great speed. 99 yards and a half.
Surely an incredible run, but this is a game of shadows, and a trained eye might see it differently. Allow me to present an alternate theory. Note that Danny White appears frantic at the start of the play. There's 10 players on the field. The offensive line, confused. But Tony Dorsett is settled and ready. I propose that all of these things were just cleverly orchestrated ruses to confuse the Minnesota defense, expertly setting a trap. Elementary indeed. Amazing, nonetheless.
This December on ESPN America. The festivities are here, and you'll have plenty to cheer. With the playoffs just around the corner, it's crunch time in the NFL. And it's all about bowl games as the college football season wraps up. Plus, the top teams in college hoops square off. And the NHL's best skate into action as the regular season continues. The brightest stars, the biggest games, all this month live on ESPN America.
In Super Bowl 11, the Oakland Raiders danced their way to an NFL championship by defeating the Minnesota Vikings. Wide receiver Fred Biletnikoff made 4 key receptions for 79 yards to become the MVP and paved the way for Raider touchdowns. Oakland shut out Minnesota in the first half and led the Vikings 19-0 well into the third quarter. The attack and destroy Oakland offense racked up a record-breaking 429 yards, beating Minnesota for their first Super Bowl win.
It's a different atmosphere here. You feel like you're coming through the tunnel, and it's like you're playing for all those who've stepped on that field before you.
It's there, you can feel it. As a part of the Packers, we try to use it to our advantage.
I think visitors, they understand the tradition, but I guess until you come in and play, you really don't know.
Something about it, I don't know. I think it's the tradition. There's not many NFL teams with tradition like we have here.
Whoever that opposing opposition is, good luck.
Welcome to PTI, boys and girls, and we begin today with
the bikini.
I'll alert the media on that.
You saying baseball players can't be tough guys? $20 if you get it tattooed.
Okay, Wilmon.
He's gonna potentially have a show where he has a badge.
Boom.
Hey,
shut up with that.
Maybe he's a late bloomer.
This is horrific.
We agree.
He's a giant.
I needed a nap.
One word.
Magnifique.
I'm thinking
my quarterback.
Just stop talking.
What are these players thinking? You didn't call that.
But you know what we do have?
Pardon the interruption. Weekdays on ESPN America.
Welcome back to Monday Night Countdown, served by Applebee's.
Well, we didn't know, but there's Sam Bradford warming up for the Rams. Now, for the first time tonight, we head to the Pacific Northwest, the Emerald City, and check in with Rachel Nichols with a DirecTV team report. Good late afternoon, Rachel.
Hey, Boomer, that's right. Sam Bradford will start tonight, even though he's got that high ankle sprain. He told me that he will be wearing a custom-made brace. It will be heavily taped, and he's getting a painkiller shot. The Rams also going to give him an extra layer of protection with their schemes. Offensive coordinator Josh McDaniels told us that everything in the game plan tonight offensively is designed around protecting Bradford and keeping him safe. And you can understand why. If he gets hurt out there, their next option is Kellen Clemens, who just signed with this team 4 days ago. So that's not appealing. As for the Seahawks, their quarterback Tavares Jackson says this is the best he's felt since injuring his pectoral muscle in early October. And he's excited about going against a Rams secondary that is very banged up. Boomer, this is crazy. Since the beginning of this season, the Rams have put 9 cornerbacks on IR. That's just the corners, 9. And they've had so many injuries and had to replace so many guys on both sides of the field that the team that you see out there tonight, 30% of them weren't even with this Rams club in training camp.
All right, Rachel, thank you. Yeah, many injuries both sides of the ball. We'll get your Seattle update later. GMC never say never moments of the weekend. For an unofficial 5th straight week, Tim Tebow and the Broncos make this spot. You just saw it. Down 10-0, 2 away to go. They win at 13-10 at OT. Matt Prater, 2 50-plus field goals. And Eli Manning again for the Giants. Another fourth quarter comeback down by 12. 2 G-men touchdowns late. 37-34 win over the Cowboys in Big D last night.
GMC Never Say Never Moment of the Week is brought to you by GMC. Check out the Never Say Never Moments of the Week at NFL.com/GMC.
Coming up, more Giants Cowboys. Tommy, I need to talk to Jerry about getting those lights fixed in Big D.
And looking forward to the Broncos playing the Patriots, you know that something weird is going to happen at the end of the game.
Hey, Tommy, and that something weird may be a Denver win, and I'm going to tell you just how it might happen.
Coach, they may be 13-0, but I'll tell you a team that can derail them.
This is our house. It don't matter where we play or who we play. It just matters how we play.
And the 25 he broke the tackle. Left for the 10. TD. And he makes a one-handed catch for a touchdown. He's going to air one out down the middle, and he's caught. Touchdown!
Catch an NFL tripleheader live on ESPN America every Sunday, starting at 1600 CET with Sunday NFL Countdown.
In a rematch of Super Bowl X, the Dallas Cowboys again fell to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh quarterback Terry Bradshaw threw for 318 yards to earn the award for the most valuable player. The Cowboys kept pace, but when the clock finally ticked down, the Pittsburgh Steelers had their third Super Bowl title. The following year, Pittsburgh again made it to the big game, taking on the Los Angeles Rams in Super Bowl 14.
Bradshaw pumping, firing downfield. There goes Stallworth. He pulls it in at the 30.
In the final period, Bradshaw lofted a 73-yard touchdown pass to John Stallworth to put the Steelers in front to stay. Franco Harris then scored on a 1-yard run to capture the fourth Super Bowl for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
What makes Adrian Peterson elite? Is he elite? No, I'm just what really doesn't make him an elite player? He does it all.
I have a lot of respect for his game, how he runs. He runs very hard.
As a tackler, you don't know if he's going to run around you or run through you.
He breaks the tackle, and Adrian Peterson is loose.
He puts the fear in the opposing team that if you miss a tackle, that may be your last opportunity of getting him down on the ground.
If it's open field, God be with you.
He's not going to let a guy hit him because he's going to bring the hit to that defender.
Caught by Adrian, and he buried a Steeler.
Lights out.
Hey kids, it's college football crunch time. Prizes galore for everyone, from the Tigers to the Longhorns, the Cowboys to the Bears, even the Gamecocks to the Frogs. Every bowl is full to the brim with football fiber, and ESPN America will be there for every great game. 100% college football bowl, 100% ESPN America. College football crunch is not a genuine breakfast cereal. Be aware that bowls can cause jubilation and disappointment depending on personal preference. Please enjoy ESPN America responsibly.
NFL 32, your newest source for everything NFL. Entertaining.
Yes.
Informative.
I've spoken to him on the phone recently.
Interactive. Send your comments and questions through Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Be on NFL 32 and be a part of the conversation.
I have a voice. I have a voice.
I have a voice.
NFL 32! Weekdays, 6 p.m. Eastern on ESPN 2.
We knew Susie had all those fans. Didn't know Mort had all those fans. Check out Key and them on Audibles Thursday from 7 to 8 on ESPN. Last week, Aaron Rodgers called in. What surprises does Key have in store for us this Thursday? Well, surprise and not the one that the Cowboys wanted by the New York Giants last night. What is it about the Giants in this stadium? Mont Bradshaw missed curfew, didn't play first half. Big, gutsy move, Tom Coughlin. Then Eli Manning, Jake Ballard, and all of a sudden a 12-point Dallas lead is 5 in the fourth quarter. 2:25 to go. Tony Romo and Miles Austin. Oh, could have iced it. Don't use that word. Cowboys forced the punt. big game for Brandon Jacobs. A 2-point conversion by Ware is good. They lead by 3. Dan Bailey, a 47-yard field goal, but hold it. Tom Coughlin just before the snap had called a timeout, and so Bailey has to kick again. And Jason Pierre-Paul blocks it. Jason Garrett can't believe it. Tony Romo shocked. Pierre-Paul, man, what a game he had. What a player he's becoming in just a short while. And the G-Men win 37-34. Now, NFC playoff picture. Again, 3 games to go. The Pack have clinched the division and a first-round bye. They win next Sunday at the Chiefs. They'll have clinched home field throughout. Next week will be their last road game until the Super Bowl. 49ers have won the West, still a leg up on the Saints for the 2nd seed, but we got a way to go. Saints lead in the South, Giants lead in East on tie breaks. Falcons, Lions, 8-5. Chicago's lost 3 in a row. Cowboys on New Year's Day are at the Giants, so that's far from done, but that's kind of the NFC playoff picture. So, Steve, let's go back to that Giants-Cowboys game. Your thoughts, and there was a lot to look at, that's for sure.
Well, first of all, 2 great quarterbacks there at the end of the game. I thought they both played elite football, and it was fun for me to watch. The thing I'm most concerned about for the Cowboys, and I've said this for a number of years, this locker room, this moral authority, this group of guys that over my dead body it's going to go a certain way. You always get a sense in the fourth quarter. You look at the defensive failures. You've seen the offensive failures earlier in the year with Tony Romo in the fourth quarter. I think there's lacking a healthy fear of ownership, of the general manager, of the coach. When the 49ers were good, we feared Eddie DeBartolo. We feared that he'd come in and cut everybody if we didn't win. If we didn't win, he was not happy, and it wasn't going to go well, and it wasn't going to. And there was that healthy fear. I think the Cowboys just don't fear enough. It's the wrong word maybe, but there's just something not there that's getting these guys motivated in the right way in the fourth quarter because they are not performing when it counts.
Well, that's an interesting point, Steve, on Dallas. And do you think, I mean, because that's been through a couple of coaches now, so it's not really a coach thing. What has to happen? Is it on the players and on the veterans?
Well, ask those guys around you. You knew that you played, I mean, your best when you were it's called creative tension, I'll call it, where you either get it done or you leave. And I think that there's the culture of the place. The 49ers, for the years that I was there, that was the culture. Get it done or we'll find somebody else. And I just don't know that really happens. I think that people just kind of float around, and I think there is obviously some tension, but just obviously not enough in the fourth quarter to get these guys over the hump.
Interesting. Coach, of course, you have some Dallas experience too, and I don't know that it was that
But it
way
was a
back
little
then.
different. Because of the man running it. It was Tom Landry.
I understand.
And that was the iron hand, and that was just what Steve was talking about. I think he hit it right on the button.
That's interesting. Christian, what did you see last night in Dallas? Man, they got 34 points.
With Dallas, I think it's always something. It's either a lineman being hurt, a bad protection, a bad call, interception dropped. There's a million excuses. Tony Romo and Miles Austin, haven't had a lot of practice time together. Late in the game, wide open, misconnect. Miles Austin said he lost the ball in the lights. Now, Jerry, you spent a lot of money on that stadium for your number 1 wide receiver to be losing the football in the lights. Like, is it about entertainment or is it about football? How many times do they practice in that stadium? To me, it's a bunch of small stuff, and they never have that home field advantage. So it's really not one thing with Dallas.
Because you played indoors.
Yeah, but I catch a ball on every inch of that football field because that's where I make my money.
Okay.
And if the ball is in the lights, I catch the dark spot because that's the football.
Okay.
I mean, we can all kind of point to the obvious and say, hey, Tony Romo, Jason Garrett, timeouts, all that sort of stuff. Take a look at the defense, though. And take a look at Rob Ryan. I talked to some people in Dallas that play on the defense. I'm not going to say their names. They're just friends of mine. And they say, we got too much stuff, Key. We don't know our assignments. We've blown coverages that people haven't found out. I mean, they didn't find us.
But it's December. Shouldn't they know it by now?
Sometimes coaches put too much stuff in because they're geniuses. And they're too great.
Know your personnel.
Okay? You got to know what you got and know who's who. And they don't do that. And when you look at this, Boom, points allowed, it's 32 teams. Points allowed, 96. Fourth quarter, ranked 27th. Yards allowed, 1,500, ranked 30th. Then you move down, TDs allowed, 11, ranked 25th. All of this is in the fourth quarter. So even though some of those other things are happening, your defense has a chance to stop it. And they're not.
But at their worst, at the most critical time in the football game, at the end when we need you the most. Look, these coaches that they're looking at as the Cowboys go on down the stretch, let's fast forward. They are going to look and see where can we take advantage. Now, you've mentioned the Miles Austin and the defense and all that. The kicking game is failing them at the end of football games. And the symmetry is you've missed 2 kicks, been frozen 2 times, once by your own coach, once by Tom Coughlin. You think the other coaches are not going to do that when they get a chance going down the stretch? So that's just something to watch as they go through these last 3 games of the season. They get a chance to freeze your kicker. As you said, Boom, we've been talking. They know he can be frozen.
Boom, I got a question. When was the last time Dallas had a mentally tough football team?
Well, that's partly why they lost this game.
Well, they won all that in the 90s. Now, that's a while ago.
Okay.
That would be a while
Coach
ago.
Parcells and Jimmy Johnson.
Okay,
right?
well,
right?
I'm not saying they weren't under Bill, but I mean.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, that's a long time.
We were mentally tough under Bill. We had started to turn the team around. The next year, Wade Phillips comes in. I was gone, but then Wade comes in. I think they were 15-1. They lose in the playoffs. Then the team takes on Wade's personality. He's eventually gone. Now Jason Garrett's personality is there, and you see what you're getting. I think that's what CC's saying.
Well, I sat and watched the game, and I was amazed because either these are the 2 best offenses in football or the 2 worst defenses. And I like to think the latter. I mean, the defensive play was horrible. And I'm not taking anything away from Eli and Romo. They're excellent quarterbacks. They got good weapons, but my God, it was as bad as ever. And I know as a coach, I can't tolerate that. I can't tolerate defense that way. And I know Tom Coughlin got out of there with a win, but I don't think he's very happy about the way he's
But how about this? You've lost 4 in a row. You win a game down 12 with whatever it was, 5 minutes to go. And now you're in the driver's seat in your division at 7-6. I mean, that's the way it's gone. But I know, Key, you feel it because we talked about it before, and you went to Dallas, which was interesting stuff, but about their 4th quarter. But we've seen them get on a December run before when the door is left open by the Eagles falling on their face. By Washington, that was a nice 3-1 start, but that seems like 1998, with way long ago. And can we really give Eli Manning a little credit here?
Yes, absolutely.
Because he is having a lot of credit. I think with Peyton out, and this is unfair, Peyton not playing. Maybe we finally can see that he has had. We know he's won a Super Bowl, but it's always he's the second best Manning playing, so he can't be the best quarter. He's really pretty much a clutch player.
Yeah.
Can we agree on that?
Absolutely. Let's go back to the beginning of the season. When he said elite, he backed it up, though.
Yeah, he backed it up.
But he wasn't about him backing even that up. It was just like, I've been doing this, man.
It's nice to see it on the field.
Yeah, I agree.
And Tom Coughlin.
And he has
Tom Coughlin.
His leadership skills. I mean, when he missed that kick, he was celebrating more than the fans. I mean, he jumped up. Yeah. You can see it. I've never seen Eli as happy since the Super Bowl.
Talk about a month of losses and new life. The Giants have it. Well, turning to our game tonight now, when you're watching the Seahawks defense, keep an eye on second-year safety Earl Thomas. Now, he's out of Texas. He was the 14th overall pick a year ago. Along with Cam Chancellor, another draft pick from a year ago, these 2 second-year safeties, known as Thunder and Lightning, and are 2 of the leaders on a young and emerging defense. Now get to know Earl a bit better as he meets Coach Gruden in this Corona Extra.
Fires to the goal line. It is intercepted. The Seahawks have it. It's Earl Thomas. The Seahawks are going to win this game.
When you play for Pete Carroll, I know he's an ex-secondary coach, and at the end of the day, he'd rather coach DBs than probably anything in his life. What are 2 or 3 things that Pete Carroll wants his secondary to be known for?
We got guys that's, jamming people on the line, causing havoc. Receivers getting frustrated about it. We want to be known as a big physical secondary. We going to swarm to that ball. We I call it Lagoon Squad. We going to get that. We going to get to that ball.
Lynch left side, finds a little bit of a hole, keeps his legs moving, 40, pushes him at 35, look at him go.
Can I ask you about this running back, Marshawn Lynch? He's making some of the most incredible runs I've seen. What is it about him that allows him to do this?
Beast mode, that's simple as that. The guy runs with a chip on his shoulder, and it seems like the second half of the season, he's been trucking through people, he's relentless. He's fighting for every yard, and, he can break at any time.
I've been in some great settings for football, college, pro. You played at Texas. Relentless fans. I think of the Packer fans, the Raider fans. Some of these atmospheres are unbelievable. I've never seen anything like the Seattle Seahawks and this 12th man. What is it about this place?
You know, when they say 12 man, it's really, you know, it's a 12 man. You're not about to come in the link half-stepping, you know. You got to deal with the crowd. You know, that's a big factor in the games. Sometimes it can, you know, mess us up a little bit. You know, the fans going crazy, but, you know, we need that. And they right there with us, you know, every step of the way.
This is a big game. You have to have this one. And here comes the St. Louis Rams with a lot of injuries. I don't even know who their quarterback is going to be. They probably don't even know. How does that impact your preparation for a team that's struggling with some unknown at quarterback?
You know, it's not going to impact me or, you know, the secondary, none. You know, we taking this game as, you know, it's prime time, man. You know, if you can't get pumped up for this, you know, you need to go home.
Very good. Thanks for joining me, Earl.
Still ahead, Rick Riley's story on former Seahawks star Kurt Warner, the challenge he's facing that's much tougher than football.
Raising autistic children, that's a 24/7 job.
Not everything was positive yesterday for Green Bay. The impact injuries could play on the Packers' pursuit of perfection. And the plays from Week 14 that left their teams in the December cold. Don't miss this edition of
Come on, man.
The NHL is on ESPN America. Catch all the action, all the goals, and all the big games, including the playoffs and the Stanley Cup Finals. Looking for NHL action? The puck stops here. Hockey's best go head-to-head all season long, live on ESPN America.
The site of Super Bowl 16 was a cold and icy Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan, where the San Francisco 49ers took on the Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Montana's controlled passing helped San Francisco build a solid lead and shut out Cincinnati in the first half. But the Bengals bounced back in the second half, narrowing the gap to 20-14. Quarterback Ken Anderson connected with Dan Ross for a 4-yard touchdown pass and later scored on a 5-yard touchdown run. But with Ray Wersching's record-tying 4 field goals, the 49ers maintained the lead and took home the Lombardi Trophy.
From exotic escapes to spa indulgences to golf getaways, you'll discover your perfect retreat at Starwood Hotels and Resorts' brand new website, spg.com/resorts. Book your dream vacation at one of more than 200 amazing resorts and take advantage of our best rate guarantee. More luxury, more destinations. spg.com/resorts.
Gentlemen, this is a new season, and for your sake, you should be thankful. Haller, Corso, Herb Street.
They're calling you out.
It's like days of our lives.
Who cares that they lost to Washington?
Watch out. Some of those thoughts and opinions last year wouldn't cut it in my camp. You can do better than that, boys. This is time for some revenge. My picks would run circles around you.
I'm going to go with Cal. Hook 'em hard. I like the Cornhuskers.
Whoa, time.
I'm going to go with Wisconsin.
Southern California.
Oh, look at the love.
What were you thinking? Oh.
You can take him on, but can you take him down?
Midfield, 45, he's on the run, Lynch, 40, pushes him at 35, look at him go.
Marshawn Lynch in beast mode, and Steven Jackson, the battering ram.
The give to Jackson, runs into traffic, runs out of the tackle, to the 10, to the 5, he's in, touchdown, Steven Jackson.
Bringing them to their knees takes more than one man.
2 hard runners. Now the Saints were defending champs, but they forgot to tell Marshawn Lynch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many Saints would miss? 8 of them! It was a beast quake. They called it because it registered on the seismograph right near the stadium. 41-36. One of the best runs you'll see at any time. 67 yards. We'll be playing that long after we're all gone from this show, I can tell you that. The Seattle Seahawks have been in the NFL for only 35 years, and in that time they established pretty good running back tradition. Before Marshawn Lynch, there was Sean Alexander who set records. Ricky Running Waters came up from San Francisco, played well there. Then there's Kurt Warner. As Tommy can attest, because Tom played in the old AFC West against him twice a year, Warner was one of the most underappreciated players back in the 80s, spearheading the old ground chuck attack under coach Chuck Knox. In his rookie season in 1983, Warner led the AFC in rushing. He took Seattle to the AFC Championship game. He retired in 1990 early because of a bad knee injury and has turned his focus to a much more important cause than football, his family. Rick Riley has the story.
The three sons of former Seattle Seahawk Pro Bowler Kurt Warner look like they could be triplets. Handsome, strong, and fit. But there's a difference. The two younger ones are twins and autistic.
No, quite not. Thank you.
Autism is a brain disorder with no cure. The 17-year-old Warner twins have a medium level of it, but even medium is a lifetime of sacrifice for the parents.
I need help.
What's harder, raising autistic twins or playing in the NFL?
Raising autistic children, by far, probably the toughest thing we've ever had to deal with. Because the NFL is the NFL. I mean, you go out there and you play Sundays and you compete and it's fun, but raising autistic children, that's a 24/7 job.
Warner retired from football in 1990, but this is a job he and his wife Anna can't quit.
Oh no. The hard part for me was the little steps when you see your son, the beard starting to show, and the fact that I have to shave them, or turning 16. They were supposed to be learning to drive, and that's not gonna happen. That stuff that just, I wasn't supposed to be doing this. And there's no end in sight.
So it's bittersweet when they watch their oldest son, 18-year-old Jonathan, a talented wide receiver for Camas Washington High School. He helped lead them to the state semifinals this year.
Do you ever wish it weren't so and you three could be on a football team together?
Oh yeah, I would love that. I would see, Austin would probably play, lineman, Christian would probably play cornerback or something like that.
Austin is big and Christian is fast. Physically, they could play football.
But they have no interest.
No, not at all.
What they do have an interest in is Disney, a deep, abiding, consuming interest in anything Disney.
With Austin, if you ask him, he'll tell you the years of all of the Disney animated movies.
Every year?
Every year. He'll tell you the producers and all the other stuff.
The names of the producers?
Yeah.
Who directed Aladdin?
John Musgrave Clements.
What year was it made?
1992.
Who produced it?
Producer Don Hahn.
The problem is, the twins sometimes think they're in a Disney movie. In 2008, Austin decided to be Pinocchio inside the belly of the whale. How did Pinocchio get out of the whale? He set a fire.
He followed Kurt and saw where Kurt had the matches in the garage. And Austin went into his room and started a fire. I caught him going up the stairs with a little glass of water trying to put the fire out.
I go in the room and there's the curtains on fire and I was like, oh, okay, what's going on here? And then mom's yelling at everyone, get out, get out.
95% of the Warner stuff was ruined. Memories from Kurt's 1982 national championship at Penn State, his AFC Rookie of the Year trophy, his AFC Player of the Year trophy, all melted.
That's the first time I actually seen him cry or anything like that or ever get upset like that.
I would trade everything that I've accomplished to have two healthy boys. It's the hand we are dealt.
We are better parents because of autism. You're more patient, more loving. I don't know why the boys have autism, but this is what God gave us. And something good is gonna come out of this.
Maybe that good thing that's gonna come of all this is already here.
I'm blessed to have them as brothers.
You're blessed. How are you blessed?
I think they kind of just blessed me with patience and, maturity a little bit.
So let's say we could cure autism tomorrow. What's the first thing you'd do?
Play a game of football. That's the first thing I would do. They're my sons, so I'm going to love them. I'm going to do whatever I can to make sure that they're taken care of, and I will defend them to the utmost.
We always enjoyed watching Kurt Warner play football. We certainly root for him and his family a lot harder than we ever rooted for Kurt running the ball for those Seahawks. Thank you very much, Rick. In case you miss any of Rick's Monday night pieces, and they've been memorable, watch Rick Riley's NFL, a 1-hour show that airs tomorrow night at 11 Eastern. That's on ESPN2, and that'll be good. Meanwhile, the Green Bay Packers, if you haven't heard, they haven't lost yet. Mike McCarthy's Pack trying to go 13-0 against the Raiders, or more like the Raiders. Brian Grant was gone. The game was a rout right away. They did it on the ground. They did it in the air. Aaron Rodgers, Jordy Nelson, he threw 2 touchdown passes, 24-0. But it wasn't all great. It was Rodgers to top receiver Greg Jennings. 2 defenders fall in the third quarter on Jennings' knees. He limps off the field. We'll have an MRI today. And so now Packers win 46-16, haven't lost in 52 weeks. We go to Adam Schefter now. And Shefty, what do we know about Greg Jennings a day after the injury?
Boom, it is a torn medial collateral ligament, and the Packers are afforded the luxury of time and lots of receivers. They have time to get Greg Jennings ready. Now, if they could clinch that first-round bye and home field advantage through the playoffs, then that would mean that they would be in no rush to bring back Greg Jennings, and we might not see him again until the postseason. So the downside for the Green Bay Packers after this knee injury that he suffered yesterday against the Oakland Raiders is he could be done for the rest of the regular season. The upside from the Green Bay Packers' perspective is that he could be back and should be back for the postseason. And in the interim, they'll rely on the wealth of other wide receivers that they do have, Boom.
Well, they do have him, Shefty. Thank you very much. And that first playoff game will be in 5 weeks, almost to the day. Trent, let's bring you in here. Now, the impact of Jennings' injury on Aaron Rodgers and the passing game of the Packers in general.
Well, first, I don't want to overcomplicate this. I think the starting point is they lose a great football player. I think Chris and Key, our 2 receivers, would agree that he is a top 10 receiver. Some would even say a top 5 receiver in this league. What it does to them as a football team is it hurts them, limits them offensively. I think you have to understand this passing game in general. They run as few concepts as anybody in the NFL, meaning plays. What they do is they dress all the plays up, whether it's a 2x2, a 3x1, a 3x2 formation. They run the same plays and they put different people in all those different spots. Greg Jennings really was the signature piece of all those. He knows all the different spots, and Aaron Rodgers trusts him in all those areas. Just talking to Aaron Thursday, he said really the key to their offense this year has been putting Greg Jennings in the slot and what it's allowed them to do offensively. So there's going to be a real adjustment period here, Boom.
Well, it will be, but, I mean, the Packers have adjusted to tougher, and the news really is good, Chris, that, I mean, he could be back for the start of the playoffs. I mean, it could have been another knee injury, which would have shelved him.
Yeah, it's an MCL, and he's going to be okay. From a wide receiver standpoint, if it's an offensive lineman, he might be able to play this week. A quarterback will be able to play in a week or two because of you can stabilize the joint. As a wide receiver, and especially with Greg playing in the slot, which Trent mentioned, a lot of lateral movement. So the looseness in that joint right there needs to be stabilized. If he's off 3 weeks, he'll be fine for the playoffs. The reason why the team will be fine is no other team has the depth that they have. What other team can say, okay, our 5th option is a 13-year veteran, a great guy in Donald Driver. He's the 5th option. We plug him to be number 4. Jordy Nelson is a number 1 receiver, guys. He could play a number 1 on another football team. His explosiveness, playing outside the numbers down the field. James Jones outside. All these guys have been there 4 and 5 years with Aaron Rodgers. So I don't think they will miss a beat. When you have a player like Greg Jennings, the numbers and stuff, they'll dress it up and someone will compensate for it. But I look for big things out of Green Bay, guys.
Well, look, I think that the defense, switching it over to the other side of the ball, they have to pick things up a little bit when you lose somebody. I think that they have a little bit of experience with this going back to last year where they played with 15 guys on IR and won the Super Bowl, so I don't think that it will necessarily, shock them, the fact that Jennings will be out for a while. You're the one who mentioned to me that they have 5 weeks to prepare. Now, he can sit for 5 weeks before they really have to worry about playing him again. But defensively, I just want to say, they create these turnovers that they're creating, the way they did,
extra possessions,
they're not going to lose a football game.
Defense has been playing good for them lately. But then last night I had a chance to see Coach McCarthy at the end of the game basically say nobody can beat them. I disagree with him. I think that the New York Giants can beat them. If they win their division and they wind up somehow playing the Giants in Green Bay, they've gone there before and they've won. They've rushed the passer. Think about in 07, boom, fellas, when they played the New England Patriots. They lost the New England regular season. They saw them in the postseason, although it was a Super Bowl, and they beat them because they was able to get to the quarterback, something that they can do. Pierre-Paul, Tuck, now they're running the football pretty good.
The last 2 years, no team has overcome adversity like the Green Bay Packers.
That's true.
They plug in people. Now, I hate to say you're not going to miss Greg Jennings, you're going to miss him. But it's like a spark plug. You take it out, you put another one in. Maybe not as good, but they're going to still use them. The key ingredient to this thing is one guy. Rodgers, guys, I've never seen like it. He never takes his eye off it. Now, I don't care if he's making people miss, moving out of the pocket. He stays downfield, he finds a guy.
What's a spark plug?
Spark plug is the thing that makes
Put
an
in a
engine
car
work.
key, the Prius, you have one. You know what, Tommy, you alluded to it? You know how we said that New York Giants have lost 4 games in a row. Really? That doesn't look... The Green Bay Packers are the 31st ranked defense. Did they look like that yesterday?
No.
They ain't going to be 31st ranked by the time they get to the playoffs.
That's right.
You can see that they're going to shore that up. We'll be back.
Coming up on Monday Night Countdown, Tom Brady and the Patriots head to the Mile High City Sunday. Will this be the week Tim Tebow and the Broncos run out of their late game magic?
And it is over, just like you drew it up.
We'll head out to Seattle for much more on Our Game. How the Seahawks can keep their playoff hopes alive. And the plays that weren't executed as expected this past weekend. It's not you the man, it's come on.
Come on. Come on.
One, please.
Here you go. You got the last bag.
I got the last bag!
Come on, man.
ESPN America, bringing you the best NHL action all season long. On Friday night, Dallas takes to the ice in New Jersey. Can Eriksson and the Stars shine on the road? Or will the Devils put the lights out? Stars at Devils, Friday night at 0200 CET, live on ESPN America.
Super Bowl 21 saw giant cars, giant crowds, and a New York Giant team with giant success over the Denver Broncos. The day belonged to New York quarterback Phil Simms, whose 10 consecutive completions highlighted a 30-point second half that earned him the MVP award. 4 years later, New York won by a sliver in the silver anniversary of the Super Bowl. Employing their ball control offense, the Giants maintained possession for 40 minutes. Still, Buffalo managed to keep up, getting the ball within field goal range in the game's final seconds. But Scott Norwood's 47-yard field goal attempt sailed right, preserving New York's lead.
Breaks free of the 25 to the 30 to the outside.
I think we're all fans of Devin Hester.
15, Hester 5. Oh! Touchdown Bears! No way!
I've had the honor and pleasure of blocking for Devin, and it's amazing.
When Hess has the ball in his hands, you always want to be on the sidelines. You don't want to be sitting down because something exciting is probably going to happen.
15, 10, no chance, goodbye, touchdown, the Windy City Flyer, Devin Hester.
My biggest idol was Deion Sanders, which was Prime Time. And Deion actually came up with the name Anytime.
He has it on his shoes anytime. You know, it's like a primetime junior.
I guess anytime I touch the ball, I make big things happen.
An historic gallop for the NFL's all-time leader. Touchdown, Devin Hester. You are ridiculously good.
Here they are, the national panel.
Today I'm feeling like the bee's knees.
Every day I lose, I die just a little.
Around the horn is my favorite to do.
Let's go to work.
A great young
talent. He's not that popular.
Tell me, they win bad games.
I have a real problem with it because he punched a guy.
Why'd you have to go get Woody all riled up?
Get over it.
I'm fine with it.
Woody and I get awful tired of having to set these youngins straight.
What more could you possibly want?
The perfect bobblehead technique.
Going old school.
Here's an extra point for you. How about that?
It's not over, it's just beginning.
Don't miss Around the Horn, weekdays on ESPN America.
Well, in case you've forgotten and have been somewhere else, like on the moon, which is full this week, Tim Tebow's comebacks began in Miami, down by 15. Two-point conversion tied it. It was 15-0. Matt Prater, 52-yard field goal. So he's done this twice, all right? Field goal in overtime of over 50. They win 18-15 against the Jets. A 20-yard run. You think Tebow running the ball would be a mark man? They beat the Jets with the 20-yard run, and they win at 17-13. Then, at San Diego, to Dante Rosario. Down the sidelines. Broncos field goal set up the game in overtime, and then Matt Prater, 37-yard win it. Goal, Broncos goal. Then, Willis McGahee. Man, they ran hard against Minnesota from down, bringing the Broncos within 2. Tebow with a two-point conversion, 35-32 in a high-scoring game. Then we showed you at the beginning of the show against the Bears, down 10-0. Tebow to Demaryius Thomas. And then in overtime, the 59-yarder tied it. Look at the head down. The ball would have been good from 70. Josina Anderson in Tebow Town today.
24 hours after their latest comeback victory, the Denver Broncos were still searching for explanations to describe yet another minor miracle. And that included their perspective on how the defenses they face continued to look so befuddled in the final minutes of the game, when everybody in the world knows it's Tebow time.
You know, they're daring us to pass. You know, I think it started all the way back in Detroit. And, you know, I think we're improving in the pass game. I think our quarterback's improving. I think our young receivers are improving. You know, Tim obviously makes some things happen even when the protection breaks down because of his mobility. But, you know, I think at the end of the day, you know, we're getting better throwing the ball, and we're going to have to be, you know, a lot better this week.
So when I asked John Fox if Tim Tebow had done enough to receive the official anointing from the front office to be the franchise quarterback, Fox really didn't want to go there. He said he'd rather live in the moment and not think too far in the future. But when I asked Broncos wide receiver Demaryius Thomas the same question, he said Tim Tebow is a 7-1 starter, so he thinks he should be. Because if you ask him, it's too hard to top that. Boom.
All right, Josina, thank you very much. Steve, let's bring you in now. I mean, not look too far ahead. Well, far ahead on Sunday in Denver, the New England Patriots. Is this the week some of the magic ends?
Well, I mean, you saw what Brian Urlacher said after the game. He said, what did he say? Tim Tebow's we lost to a great running back. A really cheap shot to come into Denver. They don't respect him. They don't respect what he's doing, how he plays quarterback. And I think around the league, you got a lot of people that think it's not real. And so I think that you're going to see the Patriots as NFL royalty with Tom Brady and Bill Belichick come in and say, now, wait a second. We are not going to play lights out for 55 minutes and allow this craziness to happen in the last couple of minutes. And we're going to stop this. You know, it's going to be a personal thing. For the whole league is wondering, you know, what will end this? This is like Disney-esque. This is an incredible run that they have going at the end. Like Coach Ditka said, it's like 4 game-winning home runs, walk-offs in a row. You just don't see it. So I think that the Patriots will take it as a personal affront that they can't come into Denver and get this done.
Yeah, Steve, I think you're right, but I also think that the Broncos have quite a few things in place where they might be able to at least challenge New England. What I mean by that is they've got a solid running game with McGahee and company and Tim Tebow. When you think about Von Miller and Elvis Dumervil, they've got the ability to rush the passer, something that I've always said you have to do if you're going to challenge that offense at all, and consume some time so that they don't get the possessions. But when we get to the end of the game, If it is close, you are going to have something along the lines of maybe the Gronker catches a pass. He's running down the football field. The Bronco horse rears up, knocks the yard marker out on the field, trips Wes Welker. Gronker comes over. All of a sudden, ball pops out. Champ Bailey gone the other way. Broncos win. It's going to be, you know, I say it jokingly.
You think you were out of breath with them other highlights.
But if they do win, it's going to be something like that.
Well, I think they can win. I think that when you look at New England's offense and what they can do in terms of scoring, will Denver be able to score enough points? The last time they played a team that had an offense that had some firepower, it was Detroit. And so when you look at that.
What about San Diego?
San Diego scored 7 points, man. Stop.
But that was against the Broncos.
Phillip Rivers is having one of his worst years as a professional quarterback, Tom. Don't try me. I do study sometimes.
You're talking about.
Good job.
Look at that.
Good job,
When you look at that, though, the offense in New England, and like Steve said, everybody now in the National Football League is calling to the New England Patriots and saying, stop this. You got to stop it. You're the only ones that we got left. Stop it for us.
You really think,
Well, in 13 games, the Patriots have been held to 17 points one time and 20 points twice. That's what it's going to take by the defense of the Denver Broncos. I think Denver has to score 24 points to win the football game. Can they do it on this defense? They can.
Well, me and CeCe can score 35 on them.
Well, listen, whatever, I don't know what, it's must see. And I think that.
Yes.
And listen now, I think we've been a little naive and foolish if we think Tim Tebow can't beat New England or anybody else in the NFL now. I mean, there's some crazy stuff going on now. Like 3 games in overtime. At some point, you got to recognize something's going on in Denver. Now, I guarantee you, Tim Tebow is saying his prayers after he watched that film. He is hoping that secondary show up for New England. He praying they show up.
Well, here's the thing. You know that Bill Belichick, he's had time. He's not a stranger to an offense like this. So whatever New England's defense has not been, and they going into this week at least were ranked 32nd, and they gave up 463 yards to Washington, who's 1-8 in the last 9, so they're probably going to be 32nd again. But they will have some stuff cooked up defensively, and Tom Brady not bad in the last 2 minutes either.
Boom.
That being said.
Can you imagine Edelman trying to tackle Tim Tebow? I mean, for real?
No. Now, but here's the point. The one game that they got in a scoring fest was Minnesota, and they were able to do it. Now, I don't know if it's 37-34 is the way you beat. Can they score 27 on New England like Washington did yesterday? New England, I mean, Washington ran for 170. Denver's going to run. Now, if they run, do they keep it for 36 minutes? I'm just saying, you can get reasons how this could happen.
Good.
Plus, Tommy's theory's probably right.
Well, boom, they
something along those lines.
Well, guys, listen. They brought the Wildcat back, Miami, for New England.
Yeah.
Remember the second time they faced them, New England shut them down.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so they do have a defense.
That's true.
Well, Tom, you mentioned the Gronker, who is unbelievable. He is unbelievable. He's already set a record for most touchdowns in a season by a tight end, 15 and counting. We bring Tret in now, and, I mean, the Gronker, I don't know if it's not the horse that rears up and stops him. Who's going to stop him? He's a pretty special player, huh?
I'll tell you what, Boom, if you watched any football this year out there, you know a couple things about Gronk. Gronk big. Gronk fast, Gronk strong, but I've fallen in love with the nuance, the craft of Gronkowski. Here's just a basic cross versus zone, right? But here's what I want you to appreciate, and Chris and Key are going to love this. This is a big man running full speed, catching an ankle biter. They will tell you that is the toughest catch in all of football. Gronkowski does this all the time. This one you're going to love. Look at the release. You got to win at the line of scrimmage. Look at this swim move. This is why a quarterback trusts you. Now look at the eyes right now. The eyes are the indicator. Tom, throw me the ball, throw it high. He understands the little things of playing the position, but this is my favorite of all the things I've watched. It's my favorite play. Just looks like a dump off, and then a powerful man scoring. But check out the nuance. He is a blocker to start this play. He's outside on Kerrigan. When the rusher comes, this is an adjustment, a side adjustment. He runs a hot with the guy on him, then breaks the tackle. Then you gotta love this. He has turned this spike into a new form of Hulkamania. Gronk run fast, Gronk score a touchdown. This Gronkowski's here to stay.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely, and a great name for Scrabble, too. There's no question about that. Good job, Trent. So the Texans, and congratulations to them. You know, they've never been in the playoffs. They win the South. Ravens hold tiebreak over Steelers in North. Patriots lead the Jets by 2 games, and they've swept them, so one more win will do it. And the Broncos now lead in the West. So the Steelers and the Jets are the wild card teams at the moment, with Tennessee, Cincy, and Oakland now on the outside looking in. One last check on news and notes. We go back to Morton Adam for some late show heroics, fellas.
Hey, Boomer, you mentioned the Texans. Andre Johnson didn't catch any passes because he was out with a hamstring injury on the Houston Texans' biggest day in 10-year franchise history when they clinched their first ever division title and secured their first ever 10-win season. But when Coach Gary Kubiak was handing out game balls in a celebratory post-game locker room, he saved a special moment to give a game ball to Johnson, surprising him, calling him the greatest Texan of them all, and citing the 9-year veteran as the embodiment of the resilience the team has shown on and off the field. And Colt McCoy's concussion takes a next level step when the NFL and NFLPA lead medical directors meet with the Cleveland Browns officials and medical staffers Tuesday to review the protocol that allowed McCoy to return to the game Thursday after he was jarred by James Harrison. What one union source calls a system failure is now certain to lead to that implementation of having an independent neurologist or doctor at each and every game going forward, meeting in Cleveland with the Browns and their medical staffers.
Well, the NFL and the NFLPA try to get some answers in Cleveland on Tuesday. The NFL is expected to give some answers about disciplining James Harrison. The likely feeling around the league is that Harrison will be suspended. The educated guess right now is that it will be 1 game, which would knock him out of next Monday night's game against the San Francisco 49ers. But a ruling is expected from the league tomorrow in terms of discipline for Harrison. Obviously, a hefty fine could be the punishment as well. As for some injury news, take a look at this. DeMarco Murray out for the season with an ankle injury. That's a blow to Dallas's running game. Jim Leonard placed on injured reserve tonight. He's done for the year. Matthew Hasselbeck, the Titans quarterback, might miss this week's game with the sprained calf, which would mean Jake Locker starts, and Mike Smith, the Falcons coach, back at work Monday, Boom, after being hospitalized on Sunday night. That's good news for the Falcons.
And they play right away, Shefty, as you know, Thursday. Tucked away in the Pacific Northwest lies one of the country's hidden gems, Seattle, Washington. Much more than the Space Needle, it's a city where you can see fish tossing at the Pike Place Market. You can grab a cup of coffee practically every corner of the street. And it's given us some memorable music, obviously the birthplace of Jimi Hendrix and grunge, and we can go on. And on a clear day, maybe the mountain will be out. Mount Rainier visible from the city, 110 miles away. Now it's time to check in with 3 guys who have been in Seattle the last few days, calling Monday Night Football from one of the loudest stadiums in the NFL. We say hello to Mike Tirico, Ron Jaworski, and Coach John Gruden. And, Coach, I'm told they also have a pretty nice anchor store there at Nordstrom's to visit this time of year. No wonder you look good.
A great opportunity to get some Christmas shopping done this week for sure. Chris, thank you. Good to be out here in Seattle. Let's get right to the news, as our friend Sal Palantonio likes to say. The quarterback injury issue with Sam Bradford. We're watching Sam closely here in the warm-ups, coming off that high ankle sprain that happened at the end of the Green Bay game earlier this year. He missed 2 games. Came back, re-injured it, told us it was worse this time than the first time. So Bradford practiced on Saturday. We'll give it a go here tonight, but we'll be watching him closely. Now, on the other side, Tavares Jackson, he's had a partially torn pectoral muscle, really has impacted him throughout the season. He did miss some starts, but he also was missing very important practice time. But Jackson felt better the last 10 days, has really had full practices, and Pete Carroll tells us he's got the zip back in his throwing arm. So we'll see that on display tonight. Let's talk about Pete Carroll and the Seahawks. Go back from a 5-year stretch, 03 to 07. This team made the playoffs every year, was pretty good. Then 08 to 09 was bad, 9 combined wins. So the regime changed. Carroll comes in, and in these 2 years, John, a revolving door, over 500 transactions. So where are we in the rebuild of these Seahawks?
Well, the bottom line is Pete Carroll inherited a team that wasn't very big and wasn't very talented. That's why you've seen all these roster changes. But he and general manager John Schneider have been relentless in making the Seahawks younger, bigger, and more physical. They've also gone out and made 2 great trades. They got Marshawn Lynch to come in here and be their feature back, and man, has he delivered. They also got Chris Clemens to rush the passer, and Clemens has 19 sacks in just 28 games here in Seattle. But what really impresses me about the Seahawks is this coaching staff. They do a great job developing young players on that practice field, and you're going to see a bunch of young, emerging Seahawks tonight.
They're playing with a style and a physical nature, and Jaws, it's not just Lynch, but he's one of the big reasons we see the way they want to play going forward.
No question, Mike. If you like old school throwback smash mouth football, you're going to like the Seahawks offense, and you're really going to love Marshawn Lynch. He is hot right now, and the run they really like is the wind back run because Lynch has outstanding vision. Here he's going to move to his left in a misdirection and come back to the right, and the tight end Cameron Moore is going to give that wham kick out block and create the seam for Marshawn Lynch to get to the second level of the defense and deep down the field. But what I really love about Marshawn Lynch is his tenacity. There is no quit in this guy. If you go high, you will not bring him down. He moves the pile and sneaks out the back end. That is tough, hard running. That's what you love to see in a running back. And right now, there is no hotter running back in the NFL than Marshawn Lynch. 591 yards over the last 5 games. He's playing well.
And the Rams defense, in understatement, has been bad against the run thus far this year. Could be a big night for Lynch. See you coming up bottom of the hour for the Seahawks and the Rams here in Seattle, Chris.
All right, fellas, thank you. Look forward to it. Still ahead, we're scanning the field in Seattle, handing you your own field pass to the Rams and Seahawks, plus the plays and moments that made for this week. Come on, man!
Come on, man. 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 Come on, man.
You are watching Monday Night Countdown, served by Applebee's.
ESPN America, bringing you the best NHL action all season long. On Tuesday night, the Red Wings face off in Pittsburgh. Can Detroit rack up an impressive road win, or will Crosby and the Pens take care of business? Red Wings at Penguins, tomorrow night at 0100 CET, live on ESPN America.
In Super Bowl 34 against the Tennessee Titans, the St. Louis Rams hope to write the final chapter in their storybook season. The Rams took a 16-0 lead when former NFL Europe star Kurt Warner hit Torrey Holt in the third quarter. The Titans responded with a rushing attack courtesy of Eddie George.
What a run! Touchdown, Titans!
With the game tied at 16 late in the fourth quarter, the Rams retaliated.
It is caught by Isaac Bruce. Makes a move to the 30, 25-20, and they won't catch him today. Touchdown, Rams!
The Titans still had one last chance.
McNair drops, throws right side for Dyson. He dives for the end zone. He came up 1 yard short.
An MVP trophy for Warner and a Super Bowl ring for head coach Dick Vermeil finalized this Cinderella story.
ESPN America isn't just your source for North American sports in Europe and the Middle East.
It's a community that brings American sports fans together.
We've taken fandom to the next level on espnamerica.com.
Where you'll find unique and exclusive content tailored for our viewers, including podcasts, blogs, photo galleries, and competitions.
Plus, you can watch game highlights.
Oh, the silence of the Lamb. The open Lamb slam.
And read behind-the-scene interviews with some of your favorite athletes.
If that's not enough, we're available on Twitter and Facebook.
So you can debate your favorite sports topics with other passionate fans.
And follow some of your favorite ESPN America personalities.
Let's go to work. Magnifique.
There's no question about that.
What are you waiting for? Join our community. Check out ESPN America's great apps on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Get into the game on espnamerica.com.
Welcome back to Monday Night Countdown, served by Applebee's.
TV team report, and I just had the chance to catch up with Seahawks coach Pete Carroll, who told me that after his team's 11-day break, he expects them to be very peppy here at kickoff. There is no one the coaches want to see fresh legs from more than Marshawn Lynch. He is heavily featured in their game plan tonight. As for the Rams, quarterback Sam Bradford told me that even after warm-ups, his sprained ankle felt okay. You know, he's missed so much practice over the last couple weeks that he spent time today watching extra game film. Hey, Boomer, that's not something he normally does, but anything he can do to catch up, he's trying to cram it in before kickoff here coming up.
Well, he needs to play catch-up, but thank you very much, Rachel. Enjoy the game now. Time to make the Dunkin' Donuts field pass. Maybe a mochaccino with the donuts in Seattle. Well, Tommy, Sam Bradford. I mean, we haven't seen him a lot.
Well, he's had his struggles with injuries that have kept him off the field, and when he has been on the field, he struggled as well. He has yet to throw 2 TD passes in a game yet this season, and he's been sacked 67 times in his career, third most over since he entered the league.
Tom, he's going to be battling Tavares Jackson on the other side, 6th year, starting with Seattle, his 1st year coming over from Minnesota, coming off a great week last week where he was 13 of 16, 190 yards. Now, you talk about a game manager. That's what he has to be in this football game. And that is not, a compliment endearing to a quarterback, but that's what he has to do.
Now, boom, Steven Jackson is the guy who could actually turn things around for the Rams. This guy is a workhorse. Now, he hasn't had a great last 3 games where he's averaging just over 41 yards a game, but at any time, he could break out and be the 100-yard rusher they need to help Sam Bradford play quarterback.
And Marshawn Lynch, they call him the beast. I tell you, yards after contact, nobody's any better. He got 8 straight games with a TD, 1 shy of Sean Alexander's streak. And I'll tell you one thing, he got 509 rushing yards since Week 9, most in the NFL.
You know, the defensive end, Chris Long, son of Howie Long, the Hall of Famer, in his 4th NFL season, been missing a little bit. But now of lately, 12 sacks this season, 6 in the NFL. They're going to need him big tonight when Tavares Jackson drops back to throw the football. He's going to have to show up.
Well, now the moment that America has been waiting for. There's our field pass, and when we return, wait till you see what we've got for Come On, Man.
To be able to play on Monday Night Football is unbelievable. Growing up as a kid, I remember it's something that I always look forward to.
Bradford launches to the end zone, touchdown!
It's prime time.
Beat him up, beat him up, beat him up!
Nobody else is playing but you.
Dig deep!
The emotion that I feel when I step on the field, goosebumps.
Touchdown! This is where we have to win!
To actually get to play on Monday Night Football is really like a dream come true.
Monday Night Countdown is served by Applebee's new sizzling entrees. Fresh flavor, never sounded so good. And in part by GMC. Enter the Never Say Never sweepstakes for a chance to win a GMC Sierra Denali at gmc.com/NFL. And Verizon, your holiday smartphone destination.
Thursday Night Football live on ESPN America. In Week 15, Matt Ryan and the Falcons are still in the hunt and desperate for a playoff push. Will the Jags come up aces in the Dirty South, or will the Georgia Dome become another house of pain? Jaguars at Falcons, Thursday at 0200 CET. Thursday Night Football live on ESPN America, home of the NFL.
Super Bowl 22, the Broncos broke in front when quarterback John Elway threw a 56-yard touchdown pass to receiver Ricky Nattell on the Broncos' first play. But from there on out, the Redskins reigned.
The 30, the 20, the 15, the 10, touchdown! Light it up, and they're
Rookie running back Timmy Smith ran for 204 yards on 22 carries, including a 74-yard march to the end zone.
15, 10, 5, touchdown, Washington Redskins.
Washington quarterback Doug Williams completed 18 of 29 passes for 340 yards and was chosen as the game's MVP as he led his Redskins to their second NFL title of the 1980s.
Garrett Blunt hurdle is like a Garrett Blunt hurdle is a
LeGarrette Blunt hurdle is
Olympic,
amazing.
It's always crazy seeing him jump. I mean, it's one of those things that you don't know how he does it. The man weighs 255 pounds.
You know, it's just instinct. My favorite hurdle is probably Arizona Cardinals game last year.
Blunt went airborne, put on the Superman cape. Garrett Blunt with a phenomenal run.
It's just like perfect. I mean, he's got perfect form, but you swear up and down he didn't run hurdles in high school. Yeah, he did.
Being able to have that, you know, as a weapon is just amazing.
It's like people still can't stop it. Like, you don't know when he's gonna do it. He times it out so perfect.
It's legit.
Winter 1891. A doctor and a peach basket changed the world of sport forever. And while some of the rules may have remained, the game has certainly changed. College basketball, over 120 years of tradition, all season long, live on ESPN America.
Jackson. Lynch out of the backfield. Out of bounds. And you like Marshawn Lynch's shoes?
Well, I don't have any lime green shoes.
Well, I was going to say.
Look out. Lynch just got tangled up in a cord. Here's Lynch. All he's trying to do is get back out on the field.
It's the shoes.
That's about the hardest hit he's taken today.
Come On Man is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Well, look up at the Space Needle. Let's look up. Come on. What do we have this week, Key? Everybody's 13th game.
Go right down the street. Chiefs versus Jets. Chiefs line up for an onside kick, and Ryan Suckup kicks about a 4-yard kick here. Maybe 2 and 3.5. That ball actually supposed to go 10. Take a closer look. Oh. And then he almost trips in the process. Right. And you want to know why his former head coach, Todd Haley, my good friend, is looking for a job. Come on, man.
Key, Patriots, Redskins. Grossman, back to Jabbar Gaffney. Oh, he looked like he headed for the stands, Tommy. Flashback week number 11 against the boys. Scored. Talk a little trash, wide receiver like we do. You don't want to see me. You don't want to face me. Get away from me. Watch out, my man right here. Bam! Oh. Don't get near him if he scores now. I'm just telling you, he's dangerous. Back to yesterday. Heading to the end zone. Now, you in D.C. now. You ain't in Green Bay. Green Bay undefeated. Ain't nobody at the game, homie. Ain't nobody going to save you. They're the Redskins, man. Come on.
CC, let's stay in D.C. Hillary Clinton said it takes a village to raise a child. Takes a whole football team to bring down the Gronker, but that memo did not get to D'Angelo Hall. You are supposed to play through the whistle. Now let's take another look at this from the end zone camera, because I want to see where he's focused at. Here comes the Gronker. I can see y'all trying to bring him down, but I cannot help you right now. It's a little late. Fans know it too. They said, come on, man.
Bills Chargers, Rivers off back. Ball loses the ball, ball's out of his hand. Fumbles into the end zone, but look at this. Add insult to injury. Phillip fumbles, but then Brian Scott pushes him out of the way. That's really bad. Come on, man. You can't do that to Phillip.
All right, you always got to look your best on the football field. This is Derek Landry of the Eagles. All right, let me get my jersey back. Where's my tailor? Take a little bit out of the sleeves. What is it, velvet? Take a little out here. We got lapels are a little too. I gotta play. Oh, man, come on, man. By the way, he went out and had a good game after that. But
get him on that Nutrisystem, Boom. Just let me out. Get you a little more aerodynamic how you did it.
Just like I did it. What is it, Velvet? Checking out the pick standings. Well, a 6-way tie for first. Almost everybody at 10-3. Coach and Key.
I'm looking toward next year, Boom.
I know you are. All right, so all of us, Steve out there, the guys, we're all on Seattle. I got a quick Monday Night Football question. Which team in the history of Monday Night Football, think of who's played on all the games, has the most shutouts? You take a guess.
I'm gonna
Steelers.
say,
you would guess the Steelers.
I'm going to say the Steelers or Miami.
4.
Rams.
I don't know how many they have. Dallas, 3. You know who has the most?
The Chiefs.
Seattle, 5.
Really?
3 of their last 4 times on Monday night they have a shutout. Could there? Holy Jacob Green! Holy Cortez Kennedy! Enjoy the game, everybody.
Who did they play?
Wait for it. It'll come. Because it's always there. Coiled inside, ready to bust loose. Not the next gear, not a new level, but a whole nother mode. Seattle's Marshawn Lynch. You don't know when, but you know he will. Go into beast mode.